Coaching looks different for every one of my clients, whether they're working with me for 4 weeks or 3 months, 6 months, or even 12 months. Some clients are building businesses, others are stepping into leadership roles or looking to move up the corporate ladder in their current leadership role. Some are finally just ready to create what they've been thinking about for years. But here's what is the same. They all start with a vision that they're not living yet, or the hint of a vision that they're not living yet. A dream that feels just out of reach, or something they know that they're capable of, but they can't seem to create. And all of them, in the end, with clarity. Not just about what's blocking them, but about how to actually build what they want. I wanted to talk about this because a lot of people ask, like, what actually happens during coaching, what the coaching journey actually looks like. So, this is what it looks like. People show up to coaching because typically they want to create something. They know they want something more. They know they're holding themselves back. But underneath it all, they want to create something more. And that's different for everyone. I had one client, once we started to unpack what he really wanted, it was a $160K business. That would give him more freedom. That would give him more flexibility, more independence. And it means for him that he is a successful business person in his own eyes. I had another client come to me and she said, you know what? I just want to be seen. I want to feel valuable. I want to use the knowledge that I have, and I want to have people actually see it and respect it. I had another client say that I want liberation. I want to be myself. I want to feel like I can be myself. I want to live my truth, and I want to operate in it successfully and daily. And another client said that I want to serve people at a deep level. I want to become a coach. I want to help them shift in a new space like I have shifted in my own life. So the dreams, they become clear. The capability is there and the desire is real. But there's always something between them and the vision that they just can't see yet. And typically on the surface, it looks like they need another strategy or a better plan or more confidence, maybe even better time management. But here's what's really happening underneath. There's a gap between where they are now and where they know they could be. Between what they're doing and what they're capable of. Between who they're being and who they actually are. And the symptoms to this are very visible. It's the paralysis. It's the researching for months without taking any action at all. It's the starting and stopping. Procrastination that doesn't make sense because they know that they're capable people, or the client knows that they're capable. But there's paralysis and there's procrastination. I had one client who said that I was bumping against some of my own doubts and my own fears, and I was really lacking clarity because of it. I had one client say, and I wrote it down because I wanted to get the quote correct, I was bumping up against some of my own doubts and fears and lacked clarity. While there were definitely parts of who I'm confident in, there were just things that tripped me up. And the whole time, the dream is there. It's getting clearer. It's getting more urgent. The gap is more painful to live with. What I've noticed a lot in my clients is that before they do come to coaching, they've tried a whole bunch of other things to close the gap. Courses and templates, books, some business coaches giving frameworks, self-help books, positive thinking, affirmations, just do it type of motivation and attitude. And of course, all that stuff hasn't worked. That's why they've come to me. Or it does work temporarily, very temporarily, and they felt good about it, but then they're back in the same pattern, doing the same thing with the same symptoms. And do you want to know why that is? Because they've been working on the wrong problem. One client spent over a year researching and planning and filling out worksheets, creating elaborate spreadsheets, notebooks filled with ideas, but zero execution. So naturally, the dream just stayed the dream. Another client had kept trying cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, like changing your thoughts or reframing beliefs, which are good and do help, but the unconscious pattern had kept running and remained the same. And as he said to me one day, if I could not to choose to feel panicky, I would. But the unconscious mind doesn't work like that. So if you think about all these things, and there's a cost to all these things, whether it's in time passing, whether it's in opportunities slipping by, whether it's money being spent or money not being earned, whether it's an eroding of confidence or a disappearing of self-trust. Being smart, capable, having everything that you need on paper, and still not being able to move towards the thing that you want, that's the frustration. And that's when people are ready for the real work, when the frustration becomes too much. And the whole time, the dream is still there, still calling, still possible. Here's what most people don't understand about breakthrough work. Your unconscious mind will give you what you need when you're ready for it. Not when you want it, but when you're ready for it. One of my clients said it perfectly to me once. He said, my unconscious mind gave me what I needed at that time to get me what I need next, which is where I am now. Beautifully put. This is how the journey towards your vision actually works. In the beginning, it's the recognition stage where you see the patterns which are keeping you away from what you want and holding you in place, usually through some type of strategic confrontation on my side, where I'm asking you deep questions and probing to find out what's really going on. And it is confrontational in a good way, because it's my job as a coach to call out nonsense, to challenge you on your thinking and challenge you on your stories. And I actually did that with a client once, where I actually had to stop my client after hearing the same story over and over. And I said, you know what? This is bullshit, isn't it? This is just that same story. And I had to say, what's the purpose of this story? After a while, my client, she fell silent, and eventually we got to the stage where she said, self-love. I need to love myself. That was the purpose of this story that she was telling herself. But I'd also heard that before as well. That's not the first time she'd brought that up. So I had to call her on it again. And I said, yeah, but you already know that. We've spoken about this. So what's the real problem? That question alone took her from the surface, or at least below the surface, to a deeper level into her unconscious to find out what is really going on. What's the real problem? That's when the real issue surfaces. And it's also at the stage where the resistance comes. So this is the resistance stage, where the pattern starts to defend itself, and it really wants to defend itself because it's so ingrained, where you'll say things to me like, it's hard to change, or this is just who I am. I can't help it. This is just how I am. I had a client say to me once, this is hard work. It's hard work with the unconscious mind. But I caught him on that because I knew that was a cop-out. And I just said, is it? What if you flip that? What if instead of you thinking that this work is hard, you thought of it as easy? That pause that followed that question, that was the moment. That's the stage where the shift happens. That's where everything reframes, and that's where you realize the dream was never the problem. It's not about the business plan. It's about being seen as someone who wants more. It's not about the team. It's about making failure safe. It's not about discipline. It's about self-love. A client said to me recently in a session, when we started to dig deep about why she was letting everything get on top of her, especially after this massive life change that she'd just gone through, and she said, I realized I missed the red flags that I could have easily seen if I had just loved myself enough to notice them. That's really powerful. What a realization. At this shift stage, this is what unlocks. The dream suddenly becomes accessible. It's not someday anymore. It's now, because you're not trying to force yourself to do it anymore. You're removing everything that was blocking you from being the person who actually creates it. So my client who said that she wants to feel seen, she wants to be seen, she wants to feel valuable. That realization that my client had, where she said, or she realized that she wanted to be seen and she wanted to feel valuable, then understanding that sending the email means independence for me. It means confidence. It means I'm actually the successful business person who does the work. The action becomes connected to the vision, and everything shifts. And what's really interesting during all these sessions and any coaching type of program is that the transformation, it's not what you think it's going to be. It's not sudden, it's not linear, and it doesn't happen all at once, but it's real. And it moves you towards what you actually want. One thing I've noticed with my coaching and working with clients is that the transformation is never what you think it's going to be. My client comes to me with a perceived problem, the vision, they expect a certain transformation, but the transformation that comes ends up being something completely different to anything they ever thought of. And it's not sudden, it's not linear, and it doesn't happen all at once, but it's real. and it moves you towards what you actually want. And you'll notice that within days or weeks, you just start acting differently towards your vision. I had a client once say, after a short period of working with her, I recognized the feeling. Instead of lashing out, I was able to express what I was feeling. I explained what I was going through and how I was working through it. I was like, wow, I'd never done that before. I never really operated like that before. That's pattern recognition in real time, happening in real time, which means you can actually move forward instead of repeating the same old cycle. And it's not because you're forcing it. It's because you're finally being the person who creates it, who can create it, and who does create it. I had a client once who wanted to be a coach. We uncovered during the sessions that she just wanted to serve people and she wanted to become a coach. She literally said that she wanted to serve people at a deeper level and help them shift into a new space. And this was after our first intensive session and a few weeks of coaching following that. And she said, I honestly know I'm the same person, but I'm a better version of myself. I'm ready to build the dream I have to help people. And my client who wanted liberation to be herself and to operate in it daily and successfully, the breakthrough happened when he realized they could actually create that it was a possibility. The vision was no longer someday. It was now. So the work becomes yours. The vision becomes clearer. The path becomes obvious. As one of my clients said, it became really clear what I wanted to do with the energy in my life. To be a coach and to help others shift just like I did. So it's not just problem solved. It's life being created. Freedom, independence, impact, the dream that you started with, now real, now happening, now being yours. Now, before I finish this up, you might be thinking that the reason I've done a video like this and talk about what coaching and what the coaching journey is like is because I'm just trying to sell you my coaching program or package or whatever. And that's not the case. If you've been following any of my work, you will know that I don't offer my coaching to just everyone. I might mention it, but we'll have a conversation first. And I usually only offer my coaching to a select few people first. And if you are looking for coaching, it may not even be with me. We may not even be the best fit. It's important to always look for someone that you feel good about working with. But I'm sharing this with you because I just feel it's important to know that the coaching journey, it's not about healing the past. It's about creating the future that you actually want. If you've got a vision, a business you want to build, an impact you want to make, a life you want to create, and there's a gap between where you are now and where you know you could be, you're probably working on the surface level problems, the strategy, the plan, the tactics. But underneath, there's something else. There's a pattern you can't see, a comfortable lie that's protecting you, a fear that you haven't named just yet. And that's exactly what's keeping you out of reach. Because here's the thing about breakthrough work. It's uncomfortable. It asks you to look at what you've been avoiding. It demands that you take responsibility for the world that you've created. And it requires you to stop defending the pattern. But that's exactly why it works. Because on the other side of discomfort, your vision becomes real. Not someday, not eventually, now. Freedom, independence, impact, liberation, whatever you're actually creating for, it becomes accessible. So the question then becomes, are you ready to do the actual work? Or are you still looking for the comfortable answer? If this video has resonated with you, I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. What do I actually want to create? Then ask, what's between me and this vision? And lastly, what pattern am I running that I can't see? This is the work. Recognition, resistance, release. And then creation. Building what you actually want. And if you are ready to stop working on the symptoms and start addressing what's really blocking you, let's have a conversation. A single conversation has the power to change everything because your unconscious is already ready. It's just waiting for you to listen. And your dream, it's not someday, it's now. Just remember that you're not broken, you're not falling behind. The vision is real. The capability is there. You just haven't seen the real problem yet. And all of that can change. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I'd really appreciate if you liked the video, comment on it, and share it around if you found value in it and you'd like to share that with other people. And if you do want to have a conversation, the details are below. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.